In this video, we're going to talk about how moving to Vietnam to teach English will change your life forever. So let's get into some of the ways that it can change your life. It's Alex here from Ninja Teacher. I'm here at a little cafe called Vua Vua in Ho Chi Minh City, and I'm also going to go get some Vietnamese food later, as well as maybe check out a sunset spot, and I'll talk about the topic as we go. By moving to Vietnam, you're not going to be just a tourist, you're actually going to be living in Vietnam, which means you're going to be spending the vast majority of your time here, at least for as long as you continue to live in Vietnam, which means you're going to have a lot of experiences that you wouldn't get if you were just traveling to a country for a short period. So there are a lot of experiences that you can have while living in Vietnam. So you might experience unique, unusual things, like for example, there's a little corgi at this cafe who's really cute and the owner plays with her like really aggressively. It's just a unique, funny thing to see. The other day I was at a spa and there were peacocks there just randomly. In Vietnam you see people wearing t-shirts that are sometimes really random phrases in English or misspelled or the grammar's wrong. So those are just a few random examples, but on a day-to-day basis, you're experiencing new things like that you would never experience back home in your home country, just because of the fact that it's different here. And of course, there's amazing Vietnamese food here, so you're going to be able to try all these different foods, which, to be honest, having pho and banh mi back home is just not the same as here, and there are hundreds of different dishes you can try. So I'm going to go grab some food after this for you to see, but there's just so many good food options, so you're going to be trying new foods. If you're a foodie, coming to Vietnam is great. And again, living in a country for longer, you just get to experience more and different things compared to if it was just a short trip. And don't worry, if you're in a big city like Ho Chi Minh City, you can get all the Western foods you want as well. There's a lot of international cuisines here, so you don't always have to be trying new things every single day. Likewise, when you're living here, you can travel within Vietnam, see all the different cities, the beautiful places that you can explore around the country. There's just a lot of options in Vietnam for travel. And you're based in Southeast Asia, where flights to other Southeast Asian countries and other countries around Asia are very affordable, so you can actually use Vietnam as a base to see more of the world and this side of the world, because a lot of people are going to be coming from the United States or the United Kingdom, and flights to this side of the world aren't necessarily cheap. So when you're here, you can make the most of that and actually go to all these different countries. I've traveled to, I think, over 25 countries now since I've been living in Asia. So that makes it just much more possible than if you were to just take a 1 or 2 week vacation each year to try and go see some places. So you may find that you actually end up seeing a lot more of the world while you're living abroad. I've been living abroad for over 10 years now, and my life just wouldn't have been the same if I had not gone to do this. There are just so many experiences that I've had while living abroad that I just wouldn't have had if I hadn't moved abroad to start teaching English. One of the biggest things I've found about living in Vietnam is there's a very get out and about kind of lifestyle here. And I think a lot of that comes from Vietnamese culture, but also because, especially when you first get to a country, you want to go out and enjoy as much of the country as possible when you're living here. But I've definitely found that in Vietnam, people do get out and about a lot, whether that's going to little cafes for a quick coffee, going out to eat dinner, or going out to bars and clubs, enjoying the nightlife. People do get out a lot, and it just feels very convenient and easy to do so. It might partly be to do with the motorbike culture. Everyone just hops on their bikes and you can get around very quickly and easily. It doesn't feel like a big deal to get out and go and do something with your friends. And whether you have your own motorbike or you get on a Grab like I was doing just now, it just feels very easy to get out and do things. And I feel like people make the most of that in Vietnam, both Vietnamese and expats who are living here. It also helps too that it can be really affordable to go out and do things. Like for example, the restaurant I'm going to go to now, it's probably going to be a couple of dollars for a meal. So you can just pop out and get a great, delicious Vietnamese meal for a few dollars. So that really encourages you to go out and go to different restaurants rather than just staying at home and cooking. And right behind me here, there's a little cafe right on the river, which is quite nice. People always popping out for a coffee, which again can be quite affordable. And even nightlife is very affordable in most cases. Of course, there's fancy options that you can go to where you can spend a lot of money, of course, but there's places where you can go, you can get beers for a couple of dollars, especially if you do like the local sitting on the side of the street on a tiny plastic stool with a beer and a meal. That kind of entertainment is just really affordable. There are like nice cocktail bars and things like that where you're gonna pay more for a drink, of course, and that can be nice to do from time to time, but you don't have to do that stuff just to get out and about. So I'm here now by the Saigon River. There's a little walkway along the river here. And I think one of the other things that is really notable about living in Vietnam is that you can have a really good social life here too. With what I mentioned about getting out and about, making plans and doing things with people is very easy. And there's a lot of Vietnamese, especially young Vietnamese, that speak English well to make friends with. Of course, you can learn Vietnamese, so you can also make friends that way. But there's also a community of foreigners in Vietnam. So you can make friends with other people who are living here, who are teaching English or doing other things. And there's definitely something to being in a new place that makes you put yourself out there more. For one, you just have to, if you're moving to a new country, you have to go out and meet new people. So a lot of other people are in that same boat. So I think it can be quite easy to meet other people in the sense that when you're living back home, often you have your groups of friends and you don't actually stray out of that as much as you might if you're in an environment where you have to go out there and meet new people. But as I mentioned, there's also lots of opportunities to go out and meet other people with the good social life options that there are available in Vietnam and the out and about kind of culture. And with the Ninja Teacher Vietnam TEFL program, a lot of people tell us that other than the training and getting certified to teach English, a big part of the reason why they do it is to get the community that we offer through the program. For one, we have up to 16 people coming through each program, so you get to make friends and meet other people while you're going through the program, and I've seen some really great friendships form through that. And then also the larger Ninja Teacher community, because we've had hundreds of people come through our program. So we have a nice community of people here living in Ho Chi Minh City and around Vietnam. So that makes it easy to make connections at the events we have. Like we have meetups almost every month that our program participants and alumni can come to meet new people. So that really helps to get settled in and start forming that community here so that you can have a good social life and enjoy yourself in Vietnam. And then how actually teaching English affects your lifestyle? Well, for one, the job is very practical and active. So if you're used to a normal office job of sitting at your office desk from 9 to 5, it's going to be very different to that because you're actively teaching, and teaching English specifically, TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language or teaching English as a second language, creates a very engaging classroom where there's lots of activities, lots of interaction. It's not just you standing at the front of the class delivering information. It's a much more engaging kind of teaching with group work, activities, and a lot of interaction. So that can be a really nice change for a lot of people that want a bit more of an active and engaging kind of job. And in Vietnam, a full-time teaching job is usually considered about 18 to 24 teaching hours per week, plus the time to plan your lessons. And it depends on the job, but quite a lot of the jobs don't require you to be in the office when you're not teaching. So you can do that lesson planning in your own time. And depending on whether you're at English centers or public schools, the schedule can be a bit different. But often that means that you can go out and do things between teaching. So you can often use that time between classes to actually go out and do things and not just sit at office desk. And even if you are at a more traditional kind of job with hours that are more like 8 to 5, you often still only have to teach around 18 to 24 hours, depending on the specific school and the contract offered. But that means that you still have free time outside of those hours, and that's not a bad workload because teaching can be tiring too, but a lot of people find that they can have a good work-life balance in Vietnam because the actual teaching hours are not too bad. And again, if you're at a school where you don't have to be in when you're not teaching, you have that flexibility around spending that time where you want, like going to a little cafe along the river and doing some lesson planning, for example. So having a more physically active job, as well as a job that has reasonable working hours, combined with that culture of going out and doing things, overall leads to a very different kind of lifestyle than what you might have back home. So I feel like that appeals to a lot of people. Many of our teachers that have talked to me and told me about their reasons for wanting to come to Vietnam, that kind of lifestyle is appealing compared to what they have back home. Okay, I'm gonna pop into this place here to get some bakar, which is beef stew, and it's really good. I've heard this place is a good spot, so let me go check it out. Okay, I missed the sunsets, but I got here to a rooftop bar. It's a little dark, so it might be hard to see me, but there's a nice view behind me of the city and the skyline with the lights on. You can see landmark 81 right over there, the tallest building in Vietnam. So one other thing I wanted to mention about how living abroad and teaching English abroad can change your life is that whenever I go home, I notice a big difference in the mindsets and also the personal growth that I've had compared to people who've stayed back home and not gone to live abroad. And I do want to briefly say that I know it is a privilege to be able to go and live abroad. Not everyone has the opportunity to. Many people are in tough situations in their lives and they just can't make it happen, or they're supporting other people in their family, or they don't have a bachelor's degree, which is required to teach English in Vietnam. And maybe some people don't actually want that for their life, which is also totally fine. So I'm not saying it's better or worse, or right or wrong. I'm just saying for me personally, I know how much I've grown as a person from living abroad, and I wouldn't change that for anything. So I think the personal growth can really come from putting yourself out there and doing things that are uncomfortable for you, because it's that putting yourself out there and pushing past your comfort zone that leads to growth and discovering or developing parts of yourself that you might not even know exist within you. Okay, I just grabbed this bottle of, I think it was Bombay Sapphire to light me a little bit better. And maybe that's a good metaphor actually, is not the Bombay Sapphire, but the lights, you know? It's like illuminating different parts of you that you didn't know existed. Because life can be difficult at times wherever you are in the world, whether you're back home or living abroad. And I think as long as you have a growth mindset, you're bound to grow as a person as you go through life. But I think there are certain aspects of living abroad which bring that out of you even more than it might if you just stayed at home. Things like cultural differences, the way you interact with people in a different country might be very different from back home, and you have to learn about that and maybe change some of your beliefs and what you think is right or wrong, or the way things should be done or not done. And realizing there are different ways of seeing the world and interacting with the world that when you're in your own culture, you might not be exposed to that, and you might continue to go through life without really seeing that different way of operating or looking at the world. And this can be anything from moral beliefs about what's right and wrong to more practical things about workplace culture and etiquette, to small things about how people interact on an interpersonal level. And living in different cultures, ideally learning some of the language, really gets you to understand these things at a deeper level. And sometimes it's just dealing with and overcoming little day-to-day issues, like I actually just got a flat tire on my motorbike today, and so that's why I was taking grabs around. I normally drive a motorbike. It might be learning to ride a motorbike and getting your license in Vietnam. Or maybe you just decide you want to use Grab because it is super convenient and you don't actually need to ride a bike here. But even for me now, after being here 10 years, I have to go and figure out like how to get my motorbike with a flat tire to the mechanic to get the tire changed, practice my Vietnamese speaking to the mechanic. So all of those little kinds of things. And when you're actually teaching English in Vietnam, especially when you first move here, there's a lot of little things like that that you need to learn and get used to. So it can be a lot to adjust to, and that too allows you to push yourself, get out of your comfort zone, and also build a lot of confidence in yourself that you can be independent in another country, and you were able to go to a new country, set up your life there, and stay for however long it is that you want to stay. And it doesn't have to be forever. A lot of our English teachers that come through our program stay for 1 or 2 years. Some stay longer, some stay forever, but it's actually quite common that people only stay for a year or two. For whatever reason that is, maybe that was the initial plan, maybe they want to go on to do different things. Some people do stay and make a career out of teaching, either in Vietnam or go on to teach in other countries. But during the time that you're here, you'll have all these opportunities to learn, grow, and develop as a person. Not to mention the teaching, so if you're getting into teaching for the first time, that's an entirely new skill to learn. So you're going from maybe never having taught before to becoming an English teacher, going into a classroom and delivering a lesson. It is really cool to see our program participants go from not having taught before often to going through our 4-week Vietnam TEFL program, the training that teaches people to become English teachers with practical teaching, learning how to be a teacher, everything that's involved in that, and then seeing them come out the other side ready to step into the classroom and then get a job as well. And we help everyone get jobs after the program, and that's not easy. That's a lot to learn in a month. It's an intensive program, and that's something that you really need to build your confidence up with, because teaching is not always easy, and you need to learn all the skills, everything from presenting, classroom management, how to grade your language, teaching the different skills like reading, writing, speaking, listening. It's actually amazing seeing the progress that people make from day one, maybe never having traveled abroad, to getting settled in, like with the orientation that we have, and then going through the teaching program where they learn all these skills. And that takes a lot of effort. It's really impressive, and the growth that we see in people from that first day to the end is actually incredible. And a lot of it's down to the hard work that they put in. And then even when they finished the training and got their jobs, it's a learning process. Even in the first year of teaching, you're still learning a lot. So learning the new skills for a new career, getting into that career, and then becoming self-sufficient and earning an income by being a teacher, that's a huge amount of growth as well. So I think by all the experiences you'll have by living and teaching English in Vietnam, the lifestyle changes that you'll have by living here, and also the personal growth that you'll have, your life is absolutely going to change forever. And no matter how long you actually stay here and do it for, you're going to have those experiences for the rest of your life. And as mentioned, while it does require you to push your comfort zone, getting started teaching English in Vietnam is very possible with just a few $1,000s of startup costs to cover your flight, your TEFL certification, and your living expenses until you get your first paycheck. You can get started teaching English in Vietnam in a few months, and then you'll be earning a salary to support yourself while you're living here. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can download our Teaching English in Vietnam guide. It covers those startup costs that you need to consider when you get started teaching, as well as the salaries and living expenses, so you can learn a bit more about that. And if you'd like our help with moving to Vietnam to start teaching English here, you can head over to ninjateacher.com and get in touch. So that's it for this video. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more videos about living in Vietnam and teaching English here, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.